So welcome to the part 3 of this video tutorial, and now we will start with a round 29. So we'll slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. Good. Then we will do our first starting shell over shell, so chain 3 and double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets into the same chain 2 space. Good. Chain 3, and as before we will work over this pineapple, so single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, and the chain 3 and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop. So in this round we will have in our pineapple 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 chain 3 loops, then we chain 3 and we will do shell over the next shell. Like that. Then we chain 1 and into the chain 3 space we will do a shell. Chain 1 and shell over the next shell. Chain 3. So here is our work so far. So, and single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, and we'll repeat this pattern throughout the round 29. So as I said before, we will have 9 chain 3 loops in our pineapple, then we chain 3, work a shell over a first shell, chain 1, shell in a chain 3 space, chain 1, shell over the next shell, and again work in this pineapple throughout the whole round. Okay, so we start round number 30, slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. Now we'll make our starting shell. Then chain 3 and single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3 and single crochet into the next loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3 and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop over pineapple, chain 3, and we'll do shell over the next shell. Then chain 3 and work a shell over the next shell. And chain 3 again and shell over the next shell. Chain 3 and again work throughout our next pineapple, so single crochet into the first, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 loop, chain 3, and so on. So here we have our starting shell, then we chain 3 and we work in our pineapple as usual, single crochet into the first loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, and so on, single crochet into the last. In this round number 30 we will have 8 chain 3 loops in our pineapple, then chain 3, do a shell over a shell, chain 3, shell over the next shell, chain 3, shell over the next shell, and then chain 3, and again we are at the next pineapple and we work as usual. So as usual we slip stitch into the third chain like that, slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We will start around number 31 and we do chain 3, double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more double crochet, so our starting shell, chain 3, and again we will work across our pineapple, so single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, so these pineapples are quite easy to do. What we need to do is chain 3 and single crochet in these loops, but you need to be careful that you don't miss any loop. So chain 3 and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop like that. So in this round we will have 2, 4, 6, 7 chain 3 loops in our pineapple, chain 3, and into the next shell we will do a shell over a shell, like that. Then we'll chain 4 and we'll do shell over the next shell. again chain 4, 2, 3 and 4, and shell over the next shell. Chain 3, and again we will work into our pineapple. So single crochet into the first loop, chain 3 and single crochet into the next, again chain 3, and repeat this pattern throughout the round. 31. So in our pineapple we will have 7 chain 3 loops, then chain 3, shell over a shell, chain 4, shell over the next shell, chain 4, again shell over the next shell, and chain 3, and again working our pineapple. So in the previous round we had chain 3, and now we have chain 4 between these shells. So to end this round, slip stitch into the third chain, now we'll start round number 32, slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We will do our starting shell, so as usual chain 3 and double crochet into the same space, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets. Chain 3, and we will work across our pineapple, single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next loop, and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop of our pineapple. So in this round we will have 6 chain 3 loops, then we chain 3 and we work shell over the next shell, now we will chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and into this middle shell we will do 2 double crochets, chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and 2 more double crochets into the same chain 2 space. It's 1 and 2, chain 5, 3, 4 and 5, and work shell over the next shell. Chain 3, and again work over this pineapple, so single crochet in every chain 3 loop and chain 3 between these single crochets. Good. So in this round we started this chain 5, chain 6 as our base for the first for the next our third row of pineapple. So there you go. We have a shell over a shell, then our 6 chain 3 loops in our pineapple, chain 3, here a shell over a shell, chain 5, 2 double crochets in this middle shell, chain 6 and 2 double crochets into the same space, then chain 5 and shell over the next shell, chain 3, and again we work over this pineapple. To end around 32, slip stitch into the third chain. Okay. Now we will start round number 33, slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We'll do our beginning shell, chain 3, and you work into first chain 3 loop, single crochet, so chain 3, and in every chain 3 loop we'll do a single crochet and chain 3 between them. So now we will have 5 chain 3 loops in our pineapple. Chain 3, and we'll do shell over the next shell. Like that. Sorry. Then we chain 3 and into our chain 6 space we will do 16 treble crochets. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 treble crochets, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16 treble crochets into this chain 6 loop. So let's count again, be sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, yes, that's right. Chain 3, and we'll work shell over the next shell. Chain 3, and again we'll work over throughout our pineapple, chain 3 and single chain to the next chain 3 loop. This is basically a routine now when we're doing these pineapples. On every chain 3 loop we do a single crochet and then chain 3 between them. So here's our last chain 3 space, chain 3 loop, then we chain 3 and shell into the next shell. and chain 3, and into our chain 6 loop. Again we will do 16 treble crochets. So in this round we have 5 chain 3 loops in our pineapple. Chain 3, shell over a shell, chain 3. In a chain 6 loop we will do 16 treble crochets, chain 3, shell over the next shell, chain 3, and again work throughout our pineapple. At the end we have 5 of these loops, chain 3, and again shell into the next shell. We slip stitch into the third chain, start round number 34, slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We will do our beginning shell, chain 3, and we are working our pineapple. So single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, and single sorry, crochet into the last chain 3 loop, chain 3, and we'll do a shell over the next shell, chain 3, and in every treble crochet of the previous round we'll do a treble crochet and chain 1 between them. So treble crochet into the next, chain 1, treble crochet into the next, chain 1, so on. And treble crochet into the last, treble crochet, then we'll chain 3, and we'll do a shell over the next shell, chain 3, and we'll work across our next pineapple. So single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the second, chain 3, single crochet into the third, chain 3, into the fourth, single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet into the fifth, our last chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, and again we'll do shell over shell. So in this row we will have 4 chain 3 loops in our pineapple, then we'll chain 3, do a shell over a shell, chain 3, and in every treble crochet of the previous round we'll do a treble crochet and chain 1 between these treble crochets. So in this round we will have 16 treble crochets and 14 chain 1 spaces, chain 3 and shell over the next shell, then chain 3 and work over the next pineapple. So again for these chain 3 loops. So now we slip stitch into the third chain. So start row 35, slip stitch into the next double crochet as we did before, and slip stitch into the chain 2 space, chain 3, and we'll do our starting shell. So double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets into the same space, like that. Now chain 3, and we will single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, single crochet into the second loop, chain 3, single crochet into the third, chain 3, and single crochet into the fourth loop of our pineapple. So in this row we will have 3 chain loops in our second row of pineapples. Then we chain 3 and we will do shell into the next shell. Chain 3. Now we are at our third row of pineapples. So in this row we will single crochet in every chain 1 space of the previous row and chain 3 between. Chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space. Again chain 3 and single crochet into the next. And chain 3 and single crochet into the last chain 1 space. Now we'll chain 3 and again do a shell over the next shell. Chain 3, and here is our second row of pineapples, and again we'll do single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, single crochet into the third, chain 3 loop and chain 3, and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop, chain 3, and shell over the next shell. Again chain 3, and we'll single crochet into the first chain 1 loop of the next pineapple. Right. So this is our second row of pineapples. It is our first done. Here we will have 3 chain 3 loops, then we chain 3, shell over a shell, chain 3, and we will single crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, and so on throughout the whole pineapple. Chain 3, a shell over the next shell, chain 3, and again we will do in this pineapple. So here we'll have 3 loops, and here is our third row of pineapples where we'll have 14 chain 3 loops. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And repeat this pattern throughout the whole round. To end the row 35, we will slip stitch into the third chain. So let's start row number 36. slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We will do our starting shell. Chain 3 and we will single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple. Chain 3, single crochet into the second loop, chain 3 and single crochet into the third. Now we'll chain 3, I'll do a shell over a shell, chain 3 and we'll work across these chain 3 loops of our next pineapple. So we'll single crochet into the first loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, and we'll work across this pineapple. And chain 3 and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop. So in this row we will have 13 chain 3 loops. Chain 3 and we'll do shell over a shell, chain 3 and again we will work these 3 loops of our previous pineapple. So single crochet into the first, chain 3, single crochet into the second, chain 3 and single crochet into the third, chain 3 loop, chain 3 and we'll do shell over a shell, and chain 3 and again we're working this next pineapple. So single crochet into the first, chain 3, single crochet into the next and so on. So in this second row of our pineapples we will have now 2 chain 3 loops, then we chain 3, do shell over a shell, chain 3 and we will work across this pineapple. Here we will have 13 chain 3 loops, then chain 3, shell over the next shell, and here we have our 2 chain 3 loops, chain 3 again, shell over a shell, and repeat this pattern throughout the round 36. So to finish this round, we will slip stitch into the third chain, and we will start round number 37, slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We will do our starting shell, chain 3, single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3 and single crochet into the second loop. here we have only one chain 3 loop in our pineapple. Chain 3, and we'll do a shell over the next shell. Chain 3, and here we have our next pineapple. We'll single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, and single crochet into the next chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, single crochet into the next loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next. Continue this way throughout the whole pineapple. Chain 3, and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop, chain 3, we'll do a shell over the next shell, chain 3, and again single crochet into the first loop, chain 3, single crochet into the second, chain 3, shell over the next shell, chain 3, and again into the next pineapple. We'll single crochet in every chain 3 loop over our pineapple and chain 3 between. So in the second row of our pineapples we'll have only one chain 3 loop remaining. We'll do a shell over a shell, chain 3, so in single crochet into the first loop, chain 3, single crochet into the second, then we chain 3, shell over a shell, chain 3, and we will work into the third row of our pineapples, and at the end of this round we will have 12 chain 3 loops. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 chain 3 loops. Again we'll do chain 3 and shell over the next shell, chain 3, we'll work in this second row of our pineapples, and we'll have only one loop remaining, chain 3 and shell over the next shell. So repeat this pattern throughout the round. Okay, to end this round we'll slip stitch into the third chain as usual, and to start the next round we'll slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. Now we'll do our starting shell, so chain 3, double crochet, and chain 2 and 2 more double crochets into the same space. So 1 and 2. Our first shell is made. Now we will chain 4 and we will single crochet into this last chain 3 loop of our pineapple. We'll chain 4 again, 4, and we'll do a shell over the next shell. Chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and we'll work into the next pineapple, so single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, and single crochet into the next, single crochet into the last chain 3 loop, chain 3, and we do a shell over the next shell. And now we'll chain 4, and we single crochet into the last loop of our second row of pineapples, chain 4, and we will do a shell over the next shell. And chain 3, and continue with this next pineapple. So here we are, we do a shell over a shell, then we chain 4, and we finished of this second row of our pineapples. We single crochet into the last loop, then we chain 4 again, and we do a shell over a shell, chain 3, and we work across this third row of pineapples. So at the end of this round we will have 11 chain 3 loops. Then we chain 3, do a shell over a shell, chain 4, single crochet into the last loop of our pineapple, chain 4, shell over a shell, chain 3, and again we work over this next pineapple, and repeat this pattern throughout the whole round. And now we will slip stitch to the third chain, and we will chain 1, and we can cut our thread just like that. So here we're done with our rounds, and now from now on we will work into rows, so that will finish each one of these unfinished pineapples. I will show you how to do one, and then you will do the rest of them. So we'll do a slip knot, and we will attach. Here's our second row of pineapple, so we have chain 4, and then into this shell we will attach our thread into the chain 2 space. Sorry about that, like that. We'll do a slip stitch, and then we'll chain 3 and do our, we can work over this tail. We'll do our starting shell, so 1 more double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into this chain 2 space. That here we have our starting shell. Now we will chain 3, and we will start working into the pineapple. So single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of our pineapple, chain 3, single crochet into the next, and we will work into our pineapple as usual. So single crochet in every chain 3 loop and chain 3 between. across this pineapple. That, single crochet into the last chain 3 loop, chain 3, and we'll do shell over the next shell. So 2 double crochets, it's 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into this chain 2 space. Like that. This is our first row. At the end of this row we should have 10 chain 3 loops. Now we'll chain 1, turn our work around, and we'll slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. And again we'll do our starting shell, so chain 3, double crochet into the chain 2 space, then chain 2 and 2 more double crochets. It's 1 and 2. Our starting shell is made. Chain 3, and we will work across our pineapple. So here is our chain 3, first chain 3 loop. We will do single crochet, chain 3, single crochet into the next loop, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop, chain 3, and we'll do a shell over the next shell. Like that. Now we have 9 chain 3 loops in our pineapple. Again we chain 1 and we'll turn our work around. Again we slip stitch into the next double crochet, that, and into the chain 2 space. Again we'll do our starting shell, so chain 3, double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets into the same space, that, chain 3, and we will work into our pineapple again. Single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, to the next, chain 3, single crochet into the next, chain 3, crochet into the next, 3, so on. So with each row you will have less 1 chain 3 space less than in the previous row, and you will work this way until you will have only 1 chain 3 loop remaining. Chain 3 and shell into the next shell. 1, 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets, like that. Again we will do a chain 1 and turn our work. So you will continue this way. We will slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space. We'll do a starting shell, chain 3 and single crochet into the first loop of pineapple, chain 3, single crochet into the next, all the way across this pineapple, single crochet into the next last chain 3 loop, then we'll chain 3 and do a shell in a shell, and chain 1, turn our work, and repeat this a few more rows so that you'll have only one loop remaining, and I'll meet you there to show you how to finish this pineapple and then start a new one. So here is our starting shell. We have only one loop remaining in our pineapple. Now we will chain 4, 3 and 4 and we'll single crochet into this chain 3 loop, chain 4, 2, 3 and 4, and we'll do a shell into the next shell, and chain 1, and we'll turn our work. We'll slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the chain 2 space, and now we will chain 3 and do a double crochet. Then we will go straight into the next shell and into this chain 2 space. We will do 2 double crochets. It's 1 and 2. We will chain 1, turn our work again, and into the third chain of the previous row into this. So here we have our 2 double crochets, and here is double crochet and chain 3, the previous round. Into the third chain we will do a single crochet, let me show you again. Into the third chain we will do a single crochet, chain 1, and we can cut our thread just like that. Now all we need to do is hide our tails. So here's one, and here we started. So this is the wrong side and this is the right. And our first pineapple is finished. All we need to do is finish the 10 more. So we need to finish 10 more in the same way as we did this one. So now we will do a slip knot and we will start another pineapple here in this shell, and we will work to the next shell and so on as we did in this pineapple. So all you need to do now is finish this next 10 pineapples in every where you have one finished. Hide your tails. What I will do is a little starch with a light starch and iron it so it will have its shape. So here is our doily or table topper done. As you can see, it's quite a difference between these two. The left one is made with a 1.25mm crochet hook, and the right one is made with a 1.4mm crochet hook, and they are both made with crochet thread number 15. So if you like this video tutorial, please put a thumbs up, and you can leave a comment below so tell me what you think, and please subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss all the next tutorials.